We got Hendon Hooker from Tennessee, and then we got Max Duggan from TCU. Who do you
Yeah.
guys think is the better quarterback?
Hooker.
Um,
hmm You want to start this one off, Hayden, or you want me?
Hayden,
I'll
he already
let
said
you.
Hooker.
All right. I'm picking Hendon Hooker. I think Hendon Hooker is a better quarterback. And obviously, I think, and this is no disrespect to Max Duggan. I think he's a good player. He did, everything he could, to lead that TCU team. Obviously to the
Carry
point where
them.
they national championship and they got spanked.
Hey, Georgia
And
was just on a different level this
it,
year.
it, it was bad. TCU definitely deserved to not be there. I don't know why
uh,
there. I mean, it's just the committee this year they kind of messed up a lot. But I think when it comes down to these two, you look at their numbers, and I'm not just a guy that always looks on numbers, but you got a point to it in an argument. You look at Max Duggan's numbers. He had 3,698 yards,
Mm-hmm.
32 passing touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 78.2 QBR. Hendon Hooker, 3,135 yards, 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions,
Mm-hmm.
89.5 QBR. So QBR Hendon's better. Touchdown interception ratio, 27-2. And I get it, you got 32-8 with Max, but would you want to take 27-2 or 32-8? And you can have the passing yards, but as an overall quarterback, I trust Hendon Hooker. Obviously, I think when it comes to athletic ability, you could argue that I think with Max, people underrate his running ability. He's an athletic quarterback, but Hendon Hooker, once he gets in open space, I think he could do his work. But when it comes down to just being a quarterback in the pocket, Hendon Hooker
Hendon's the best.
is a dog, bro. He's a amazing quarterback. And everyone looks at his age, critiques
It's
that,
not
but
the age;
can't
it's
control
more the injury as well.
and then the injury, yeah. But outside of that, you look at his arm talent, his deep ball, and then you look at his QBR, his efficiency throughout games, and the fact that he can have a 27-2 interception, or I mean touchdown to interception ratio in the SEC.
I-
I feel like
Impressive.
that's very impressive.
And having to
Um,
face
Mm-hmm.
Bama and Georgia like every year as well. It
exactly,
seems like.
exactly.
Yep.
And I'm not gonna say he made Jalen Hyatt or anything, but or Cedric Tillman or anything like that. But like last year, he had Villas Jones, and he kind of got him a
Well,
lot of good looks in terms of just where the ball was placed. And Hendon Hooker, he's been just this consistent quarterback at Tennessee, and people don't give him his love, and I will. He's a bona fide stud, and I think he's better than Max Duggan. And you could argue Max Duggan. I don't hate it, but I think the fact that, like I said, 27-2 touchdown ratio, in the SEC with the 89.5 QBR, I think that's impressive. And that's
Mm-hmm.
exactly why I'm gonna take Hendon Hooker.
you want to know the stupidest thing I always find every single year?
What?
How people will have players drop 3 to 4 rounds. Not like true people who watch college NFL, but like these NFL casual who only cares about college when the time comes and they look at age and height when that really doesn't matter as much as other stuff. How they'll have them drop 3 to 4 rounds, because that is what's happening to Hendon Hooker right here. And
Mm-hmm.
don't get me wrong, I have both of these guys, for me personally, in my top 5 quarterbacks, like big board. Like
Yeah.
they're
Mm-hmm.
top 5 for me. I'm not a fan of Will Levis. Manny and Nas knows that. I have them both over Will Levis personally, because the thing that we're not talking about Levis. I know. I'm just going to make this quick. The thing that they both do better than Levis is ball control and not being able to turn it over. Levis has an arm, yes, but both of these guys can sling it too. And what people forget about Hendon Hooker, though, back to the Duggan versus Hooker thing. Hendon Hooker was in the Heisman conversation until he got hurt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You will have a Heisman caliber quarterback sitting there who's going to miss at least half of the first year, his rookie year, and will be back for sure his second year. He'll be 26 when he plays that year. I looked. He'll be 26. I will gladly take a 26-year-old who I know can produce than take a risk on a guy like Will Levis who has more who could pan out to be more of a bust.
And he outdueled Bryce Young
in that Alabama. Don't get me wrong, Bryce Young's offense, that's sketchy. That game's another reason why Bryce Young is the number one QB in this class, in my opinion. Look at what he did. He had to duel Hendon Hooker with Jalen Hyatt and that receiving core, and he came up short, but almost won. He outdueled Texas with no offensive line, no receivers as well. So Bryce Young really impressed me, though, this year.
Facts. I mean, with Hooker, it's like 5 touchdowns. I get it. Bama's defense wasn't the greatest this year, but 5 touchdowns, 380. I know he had that one costly pick, but still,
won.
He rallied his boys to the victory in that game, and he gave Tennessee a lot of win football games this year.
Dude, when I saw that pick, I was like, I thought Bama was going to secure it. I was like, oh no, Bama's going to go down and secure it. It's Nick Saban, Bryce Young. They're going to go secure this game on this drive. And to the credit of Tennessee, they said, nah. And Hooker, too, in that game, after that, still not letting that interception phase him, drove down and gave him the go-ahead score. Now I want to compliment Max Duggan as well, because it feels like we've just been all about Hooker. Don't get me wrong, I think Hooker is a better quarterback. But what people fail to realize, Max Duggan took over, was it week 2 or 3 for TCU?
Week 2, one of those weeks.
It was one of those weeks. He wasn't even the starter, and he came out and balled. And he, with the coaching and all that, helped carry TCU to the national championship. That is not an easy task.
Mm-hmm.
He outdueled J.J. McCarthy in Michigan, which Michigan, we laugh at them and we make jokes about them all the time, but they're still a good football team. They're still a good football program. They have a great coach in John Harbaugh. Nope, Jim Harbaugh. They have a Harbaugh. That's all that I know. A great coach in one of the Harbaughs. I get them confused all the time. But, man, still balled out. People underappreciate his dual threat and his running ability as well. People forget how he can run and scramble. I think, personally, Max Duggan is a better running quarterback. But don't underrate Hendon Hooker's scrambling and running ability. If you're going more long-term, if I'm a franchise, I'll target Duggan. But if you want someone who can lead you and be good for years, I'll take Hooker.
Okay.
Because the biggest thing that's going to hurt Hooker is going to be age in that injury. I think it's going to be more the injury than age, though, but we'll see.
Now, when it comes in terms of, for me, who I think is the better quarterback, I think it's Hendon Hooker. I think Hendon Hooker is I think when you look at his overall quarterbacking skills, I mean, inside the pocket, he's just better than Max Duggan in a multitude of ways. As far as the deep ball, the accuracy, the ball security, that's another thing that is very important in the quarterback, right? And I know Max Duggan doesn't turn over the ball that much either, especially when he's throwing it. But Hendon Hooker, you look at 2021, 31 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, and then 2022, 27 touchdowns and 2 picks. Dude has had 5 interceptions the last 2 years. He's had less interceptions in 2 seasons than Max Duggan did in 1. So that's something that you just have to put into effect. Also, Hendon Hooker, when you look at Velus Jones Jr., you look at Jalen Hyatt, before Hendon Hooker, we didn't really know who those guys were. Now, Velus Jones got drafted by the Chicago Bears, right, in the second round, I believe, last year. And then Jalen Hyatt, he's projected to be a top first round, maybe second round pick, early second round pick. So when you look at Hendon Hooker, he's improved. He elevates his receivers. People talk about all-time great quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. making their
Tom
receivers.
Brady.
Hendon Hooker is doing the same thing, just obviously at the college level, but he's making his wide receivers, right? He's throwing these guys open. So I like Hendon Hooker for that. Max Duggan definitely has the athletic traits.
He does.
When you talk about scrambling outside the pocket, when you talk about a guy who can run in different packages like quarterback options and stuff, and obviously health and youth is on his side. So we're talking in terms of who might go higher in the draft. I think for a lot of reasons, you can say Max Duggan will be higher on people's draft board because of the age, because of the injury, right, and the athletic upside. But in terms of who's just a better quarterback, who's just a better, to me, it definitely has to be Hendon Hooker. I mean, this dude inside the pocket, he can just do it all. I think he can make a lot of throws that, maybe not as good as Bryce Young, as CJ Stroud, but he can make a lot of the same throws, especially from the pocket.